are live and back, coming at you live from the Blake Bortles Memorial Studios. I am Britt.
I'm Craig.
We are the Football Fignuts, and this is episode 113, season 3, episode 13, if you like breaking it up like that. Craig, how the hell are you?
Still got this stupid cough. It's highly annoying.
It is. It really is.
Sorry about last week. It was just...
Last week, we will apologize. And the funniest thing is the whole field conditions thing, which we'll talk about in a second. We are still learning, folks. There are times where we are not going to be able to be in the same room.
Right.
I almost wasn't here tonight. I have a presentation at a conference tomorrow morning, so I'm going to drive my butt across state tomorrow morning.
Luckily, we don't live in, California.
Exactly. Yeah. Connecticut's even with, back roads, 90 minutes from any point in it to any other point in it. Pretty much. Maybe 2 hours tops. But I'm going to drive my butt across state in the morning so that I could be here tonight because Craig and I were like, we don't want to mess with the Skype again right now. And of course, the one episode where we do have audio problems is the one episode we get a nice bump from our friends at the Field Conditions podcast. If you're not listening to Field Conditions, it's an AccuWeather forecast. It's a little 30-minute quick one. They do round tables. They talk about weather impact on games.
College games.
College games, too. And then they have guests. I was their guest last week. It also conveniently was the 1 week this year that the metric decided not to be good. And it's funny because it's a short segment that I did for them, so I didn't get to give them all the picks.
Yeah, it was only 15 minutes maybe.
Because I screamed last week about using Greg Olsen, and he was terrible. And I did not say that on their podcast, so I was so glad. What I did say was this.
Yes.
I went back and listened to it again because I'm like, oh, God, how bad did I mess up? Because I did not cash this week in DFS. Once every 5 or 6 weeks, my system just doesn't work. That's just the method of the world. That's why I play double ups so that I can win 4 out of 5 weeks. I said to them, if you want, the metric loves Daniel Jones, which turned out to be a bit of a mistake. I think he came in about 2 to 2.5 times value. So Daniel Jones didn't quite make it. I said, I think he's a little riskier play. The stud play is Patrick Mahomes, who also didn't make value. But I said the safe play is Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan did make value.
He did. I think he was second or third in passing last week.
What really killed us this week was a lot of injuries.
Everyone's dead.
I had Kirk in a bunch of lineups, and then he didn't work out. But you know what? The more people I talked to some folks in and outside the industry. A lot of folks suffered last week with the double up. So not to worry, we're going to bounce back this week and get it going. Let's start with what we're drinking. Because I have a major conference in the morning, I am drinking water.
Right.
But Craig, I brought you a present.
You did.
Because
magic bag.
I happened to go to the Beer Axe. And while Craig is good, I'll tell the story. So the Beer Axe is this cooperative beer brewing for a lot of the smaller brewers in Connecticut so that they don't have to own their own things. So Craig, tell me what that can says.
This says Storm 51, Hoax Brewing. It's an IPA, 7%.
And we'll let Craig go from there. As Craig's opening it up. So I went to use the bathroom while we were in their tasting room. The bartender was super friendly. He was one of the brewers.
Bush.
There we go. And while I was in the bathroom, he told my wife a story that I will tell Craig now before he sips this.
Okay.
He was saying that he's helping one of the guys from Hoax, and this was a couple weeks ago, so it's probably happening right about now, brew a very special beer.
Okay.
And my wife was intrigued. Special beers. That's what brings us out to the place.
Right.
He goes, we had to get special permission from the state of Connecticut to brew this beer.
Oh.
So now she's really intrigued. So she's like, what's so special about this beer? Well, it kind of involves goat's bones. And my wife went, I'm sorry, I thought you just said goat bones, like the bones from like a goat, like a billy goat. And he went, yeah, the recipe calls for you to brew them with the bones of a goat.
How old is this recipe?
I have no idea, but Hoax's big thing is that they're the beer of choice of the afterlife. So a lot of their cans have like skeletons on it, things of that nature. This one's got an alien.
An alien with a human hand.
Right. So, I mean, it's their big thing is like the afterlife and the paranormal. So I'm not surprised. I don't know. But I came back from the bathroom and my wife was like, I'm going to finish my beer and then I'm all set. And I'm like, okay. I think that weirded her out a little bit that they're making a goat beer. So, all right, try this. Let me tell me what you think. I've had it. I want to see what Craig thinks before I tell you what guys.
There's no distinct smell. Really.
No.
I mean, you tell it's beer, but it's not like
you're not getting slapped in the face with any particular aroma. He's going for it. Let's see what he thinks. Oh, he's making a confused face. He's thinking. He's thinking.
It's weird. It's kind of hoppy on the back end.
Right.
But it's not dry at all.
No, it's not.
It's weird. And there's no like distinct flavor either.
No, that's exactly how I described it. It was like my mouth was like, you have poured beer into me. I don't know from where.
Right.
I don't know what it's made from.
Right.
But it is definitely beer.
It's definitely beer, and it's definitely sort of hoppy on the back end.
But the upfront flavor profile is like nothing I've ever had. And I think that's a wet hopped beer. I don't think they use dry hops when they put the brew in, so I think that's part of it.
Huh.
It does when you pour it into a glass, it's almost got a yellowish greenish kind of tint to it. I think it's the hops that they use in it.
Huh.
I really do. So
I'll drink it.
He'll drink. That's how my reaction was to it was.
It's not terrible.
Right.
It's not my favorite beer ever.
And I bought that blind. I was at the Beer
Sometimes
X.
you have to. Sometimes I buy beer based on the label.
But that's it. I mean, the label kind of jumped out at me too. So because they're a beer collaborative, they sell a lot of the beers of the guys that brew there, but not everything's on tap.
Right.
So we walked over to the cooler, and it was like a miniature liquor store. We had stuff from 6 or 7 different breweries all in front of us. We had to make some decisions. So, all right, let's move on to burning hot takes.
All right.
What do you got for me this week?
This week, hold on, I wrote some things down.
Oh, he prepared. Good for him.
First question. I want to know who you think is the worst team. I'm going to give you some choices, and you tell me.
Okay. You want to give me a short list?
Sure. It's going to be only like 4 teams.
Okay.
Washington.
Oh, wait, before we get there, are we talking about overall, or are we talking about for fantasy purposes?
Either, both.
Okay, I'll give you one for each.
Washington.
Okay.
Arizona.
Okay.
Cincinnati.
Okay.
And Miami.
Okay, of those 4 teams, the one that's absolutely worst for fantasy is the Miami Dolphins. There is no one on that roster I can feel confident using on a regular basis. So I'm going to go with that. But I don't think the Dolphins are the worst team on there. I think probably the worst overall team on there is Washington. Washington is a tire fire where they don't even know that they're on fire. And that's a huge problem. But they have bits.
Right.
When Darius Geis is healthy, which is very rare, he does okay. Terry McLaurin has been fantastic,
He's
except
also
for the
injured.
fact. Well, that's the other thing that killed me. Field conditions. He was one of my recommended plays, and he doesn't play. So was Mike Williams. Mike Williams was out. So I gave you 3 names on the podcast. Only one of them played. And it was Larry Fitz, and he was okay. He didn't make super value that night. So, you guys shoot me in the foot when you get exposure. It's like being a magician and doing a trick 9 times out of 10, but when they film your HBO special, the freaking pigeon flies out early. Oh my God, it's just frustrating. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say Miami is the most woeful team for fantasy purposes, but Washington is clearly on paper the worst team in the league. What do you think?
But would you even use Washington in fantasy?
I use McLaurin. When McLaurin is healthy, I'll use McLaurin. When McLaurin went down, don't forget, this weekend I was at my board gaming convention.
Right.
So I found out McLaurin was out. What had happened? Like very early Sunday morning or late Saturday night?
Yep.
I found out I had like 2 hours. I had very little time. So I just plugged in Paul Richardson across the board because I figured Richardson's catch share would increase. Unfortunately, so did every other idiot out there. And Paul Richardson in the polls I was in last week, and he was not good, was 38 to 40% owned. And I'm like, holy crap, he's Paul Richardson.
Yeah.
I get he's only $3,700, but come on, folks. I did it out of desperation. People with time to research this should not have put him in. Anyway, answer your own question. What do you think the worst teams are?
I would have to agree with you. Miami, I almost kind of feel, I don't think they are, but I feel like Miami's starting to like just purposely tank. Like, I don't want to say that they are or assume that they are, but sometimes it kind of looks that way.
Okay.
Josh Rosen doesn't look good at all. So I don't think he's going to be proving anyone wrong about where they took him. And yeah, Washington, they just seem lost. Now here's the thing: what are you going to do with what would you do with Haskins?
I don't think you can throw Haskins out there. I just don't. You can.
Well,
it's not going to help him.
Keeps going. He's like, oh, well, this is my quarterback this week, and now I'm going to change my mind. And like, but that's
and he came out.
That's not going to help Haskins at all.
And he came out today and said he doesn't know who's starting in week 3. Keenum's in a walking boot. Haskins, he's not committing to. He even used the words Colt McCoy.
Remember him?
Yes. Yes. And that's when you're talking desperation.
Yeah.
They literally have no idea who they're going to play this week. Who they play? Oh, God, they're hosting the Patriots?
Yes.
Oh,
You want to put Haskins out there? Just let him learn?
Let him get killed? They can't protect anybody. They can't protect anybody. Every time AP has had a hole, and I've seen a couple good runs where AP is, I'm like, oh, he's going to bust off for 10. Somebody blows a block, and he gets hit like for a yard gain. You can see the frustration on the player's face. They cannot, their skills are fine. Some of their skill position players are fine, but the guys in the offensive line are not. And it's woeful.
I mean, that's Cincinnati's problem. I mean,
your offensive line is shot.
Andy Dalton got sacked 8 times and rushed 11 more times, and you're not going to win.
The other problem is Andy Dalton holds the ball way too much, and your receivers don't work hard enough to get open. I'm going to say it.
He does, and now that 2 of them are injured.
2 of them are down.
Yeah,
2 of them are down.
But against the Steelers last week, it was offensive line totally.
You watch Michael Thomas work, even with Teddy Bridgewater. You watch Michael Thomas work. He never stands still for more than a second or two when he thinks he's got a shot to get the ball. If he stops, turns, and you're not looking at him and the ball's not heading in his direction already, he puts his hand in the air and he starts running. He changes directions. He's always moving. I don't see that out of Cincinnati. If they don't release the ball in 0.5 seconds after the snap, it's probably not going to be a successful passing play. I just don't see it. And you see the same thing in Washington. I know you love your Bengals. I love Joe Mixon.
I know.
Joe Mixon, I still think I'm going to stick to my guns on this. Joe Mixon's going to end up in the top 5 at the end of the year.
2 of their offensive linemen are hopefully coming back within weeks. So God willing, that will help.
Right. All right, so my question for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you the top 5 according to CBS Sports right now.
Okay.
These are the top 5 quarterbacks point-wise.
Point-wise.
I want you to tell me.
Fantasy point-wise.
Right.
Okay.
Who will not, most definite in your mind, will not be in the top 5 when the season ends?
All right.
Who's the pretender after week 4?
Okay.
I'm going to go down the list in order from 1 to 5. Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, Phillip Rivers. One of those 5. One more time. Mahomes, Jackson, Ryan, Wilson, Rivers. If you had to tell me, Britt, this guy is not going to stay in the top 5, who would it be?
As of right now.
At the end of the season, they will not be in the top 5.
As of right now, I'm going to say Matt Ryan.
Really?
I think Atlanta.
I'm surprising.
I think Atlanta just has issues.
They do, but he keeps scoring garbage. He keeps scoring garbage.
That's true that he does. But also, last year he had 7 interceptions. He already has 6.
But he had his worst fantasy week last week at 28 points. It's the first time all season he's been under 30 points. And they got decimated. They only scored 10 points against Indy. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Atlanta is a great-looking team on paper, and then in practice, there's just something wrong. There is such talent on that team, and they can't seem to do jack with it.
I don't think they ever recovered after the Super Bowl loss.
I don't think they did. I think you're right. I don't think they did. And a lot of the pieces are the same. Julio was there. Ryan was there. Devontae Freeman was still there. I think he was the backup at that point, but he was there. Sanu might have come in after. No, I think Sanu was there.
I don't remember.
Ridley came after.
Yeah.
Hooper was there. I think that was Hooper's first year. Oh, anyway. Yeah, I'm going to go in a different way. I think the pretender in the top 5 is Russell Wilson.
You think so? He's having the best year of his career.
Yeah, through 4 games he is. I don't have him very high this week. I mean, but here's the thing. I'm looking at his numbers right now. Again, this is CBS's scoring system.
Right.
He's only been over 30 points 2 out of 4 weeks. The reason he's up this high is because in week 3 he had 55 points. So he had that one stellar week. It's like Sammy Watkins is in the top 5 or top 10 wide receivers. He had one good week.
Yeah.
So I think as the season progresses on, we're going to see that kind of change. So, all right, what have you got for me to finish up?
So my next question is, and we sort of talked about this on our little podcaster chatting thread.
Yeah.
So here's my issue with the NFL and rules, because I know really they're just guidelines.
Yeah.
It bothers me, and I'm not saying, and I'm not defending Vontaze Burfict at all.
No, yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You've been a perfect apologist since day one. It's okay.
I'm not for this last hit. Where was I going? Oh, yeah. So my issue is I feel like the refs call it when they – I feel it's an objectional – the word I'm looking for?
Subjective?
It's a subjective call, and it shouldn't be.
Oh, it absolutely shouldn't be.
It either is or it isn't.
And you and I have had this conversation before. There's 2 people where if you make contact with their head under any circumstances,
right,
then you should be done. And that is when you're a quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, or when you're a receiver attempting to make a catch. That's it.
Right.
Those should be, in my mind, no
Because
question.
During the Bale game, I think it was Connor or Samuels put their head down and rammed into a cornerback.
Which is why you can't say on running you can do it. That's exactly it.
Right. And everyone was like, there's no, everyone's like calling for a flag and they just walk away with the ball. So I'm like, what? It's either is or it isn't.
Right. I think that I do think that the situation does matter, but I think it should be consistent. If you lower your head as a runner,
no matter who's running,
right, don't come crying to me. But if you're a quarterback in the pocket, or if you're a wideout who is stopped to catch a ball or is trying to catch a ball on the run, and somebody rams you with their helmet in the head, I've got a significant issue with that. But if you're a runner and you're like, I'm going to lower my shoulders, try to get slower to the ground so I can get an extra 2 yards out of it, and you get hit in the head, you put yourself in that position. So if anything, they need to start teaching folks to not do that. But that's the old school smash mouth football kind of thing.
Right.
I mean, Perfect was a defenseless receiver.
No, that was.
It was a defenseless receiver. So we're going to move along because, believe it or not, I did the math in my head this week.
Yeah.
We have 5 episodes this month because of the way freaking Halloween falls. So
all right,
we got to move it along. So let's play America's favorite game.
All righty.
The abridged version, because this week there are no lines under 40.
Really?
There are no games to avoid, but there are games to target. So, Craig, you're going to get 3 strikes.
All right.
I got 3 games on my list that are at least 48.5 points.
Okay.
Only one's over 50. So I want you to give me those 3 games. What 3 games does Vegas say are going to be high scoring this week?
All right. Saints Bucks.
Wrong.
Wow.
Bucks at Saints is a 47.
Oh, all right.
Oh, come on.
Chiefs Colts.
There you go. The obvious one is Chiefs Colts. Over under is 57. Yep, 57.
Wow.
And the Colts are 11-point underdogs. I want to take the Colts here. The Chiefs have played 2 back-to-back close games.
They have.
Where their defense has been like, yeah, the first quarter we're just gonna not do anything. And then all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes is like, oh, we've got to play ball. and then they go out there and they do this. So I kind of want to take the Colts here because I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I think the Colts are going to cover. Can it get to 57? You're talking about, well, if you follow the spread, you're talking about roughly 35-24-ish.
Yeah, you can see that.
I can see it.
Chiefs defense is not spectacular.
No, not even close. All right, so that's one. You got one strike and you got 2 more on the board.
Falcons, Texans.
Correct. That's a 48.5. So I love that game for the over. All right, I understand the Falcons only scored 10 points this week, and we just talked about how bad Atlanta has been in practice.
Right.
But that should be a game where that should be the highest scoring game of the week in my book. It should be. So I love that game for fantasy purposes this week. All right, so you got 2 right. You got 2 strikes left. There's 1 left.
Packers, Cowboys.
Wrong.
Ooh.
But I'm not. Oh, no, there it is. Yep, 47.5. So you're close, but no. That's 2 strikes. You got 1 more shot.
And what is it? We're 47?
I'll give you the exact. It's 49.
49?
49 over under. And it's a tight spread, too. I'm like, wow, really? Yeah. Only 1.5 points.
You know what? Let's go on a whim. I doubt it, though. Cardinals, Bengals.
No. Cardinals, Bengals? What? I don't even see that game on my list.
They're playing Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Where? How is it? It's not on my list. A game's so bad that Bleacher Report didn't even give me an over-under for it. I don't have it.
Wow, all right then.
Okay. The answer is Rams at Seahawks.
That's what I was going to say.
49, and the Rams are 1.5 underdogs in Seattle.
The Rams would out Gurley 100%, or not the Rams?
And Goff on the road has not been spectacular. So, yeah.
But do you use Goff to save money?
Maybe.
Though I really don't like using people on Thursday night.
No.
In general.
What's the first rule?
No
don't
Thursday night
use
games.
Thursday night. The second rule is don't go on a 1-week hot hand. All of you go right ahead and draft Wayne Gallman this week. You go right ahead. Every single one of you crazy mofos, you go out there and grab you all the shares you can of Wayne Gallman. If you're right, good for you. But I'm going to go with somebody who's a little bit more tried and true, and I'm going to put my money on them being better than Mr. One-Hit Wonder. Just saying. I saw the dude rush in the end zone twice last week, and I went, oh, here we fucking go. So, explicit podcast. Don't yell at me.
It's marked. Fine.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the metric.
Yes.
All right, so the metric did not get the job done last week.
It happens sometimes.
It does happen sometimes. No system is perfect. That's just the end of the story with there. And we're going to own when we have a bad week, and we had a bad week. But here's the thing. This is where, in a 2-second sign conversation, this is where bankroll management is essential. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen up. Whatever you plan on spending in your fantasy season, the problem is, let's say you put $250 into DraftKings. Right. If you followed us the first couple of weeks, I'm just using my own lineups as an example. Going into week 4, you had about $500 to $600, about $550, I would reckon. The gut feeling is I can blow like $300. I'm up. I can bet heavy. No. Bankroll management is when you sit there and go, I'm up and I want to stay up. Right. So if I've started with $250 and I'm up to $550, I'm not betting more than $200. Because if the metric is going to have an off week, now I'm sitting with $300 and I'm still up $50 and I'm still in a position to go and be able to play significant numbers next week. Always keep your bankroll management in mind. What the big tournament players do early in a season, they play a lot of cash and double up early, and they slowly but surely shift their bankroll towards tournaments later in the year because they use the cash and double ups to fund the tournament entries, but they still manage the amount. They don't start betting more. They start shifting the percentage of their bets over. So just a word to the wise. All right, let's talk about the metric. So quarterbacks. Right. The metric does not agree with itself. There are 6 guys on my list that are on the Lake side, and then 4 guys that are on the Love side, and the 4 Love guys I have ranked under the Lake guys. So just to remind you folks, the metric has 2 components. We combine those 2 components, the statistical, and then there's the popularity index, which is kind of a new thing this year. It's our new wrinkle into it. Sometimes if it gives me a name at the top of the list and it's on the top of both lists, that's fantastic. Sometimes it doesn't. This week, the original metric wants to go back to Patrick Mahomes. It wants to look at Russell Wilson. It's really looking at Carson Wentz's value option against the Jets, but it doesn't love any of them. The only name it loves is actually the guy that is 7th statistically, which is Matt Ryan. I've been on the Matt Ryan bandwagon all year because all they do is throw the damn ball. And Craig's right. That's true. He's got 6 picks. He's also got 3 out of 4 games over 30 points.
Right.
He is going to be 5,900 on DraftKings. Do you know what we call that if he gets to 30 points? We call that 5X.
And that could happen. They're playing Houston.
In Houston in a game that's going to be a shootout. Well, Britt, I don't like Matt Ryan. Okay. Chase Daniel is an even cheaper option. Chase Daniel is your reach option because we know Trubisky's going to be out, but Trubisky was not winning ball games for Chicago, in my opinion.
No.
He was out there game managing. It's a poor man's Joe Flacco. So I'm not big on him. Well, Britt, I want something a little more reliable. Dak Prescott, 6,000. Green Bay is at Dallas. Okay, that is an afternoon game on Sunday. Green Bay is at Dallas. That is another game that I think has the potential to be a big-time shootout. So, Craig, I just tossed out a whole bunch of names. Who do you like? Did.
Going by the matchup, I'd either go Matt Ryan or Dak Prescott.
I mean, that's probably where I'm looking. I mean, Ryan's 5,900, Prescott's 6,000, so there isn't really a lot of variety there. So, if you're hating on Atlanta, go with Prescott. If you can't stand the Cowboys like I can, don't go with Prescott. That's fine, too. Brings us to our running backs. And this is where the conversation where your quarterback, you can start to smell a stack. There is a name that the metric loves, and it's Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette is the 2019 metric Blake Bortles. Everybody loves Blake Bortles. I think it's possible that Blake Bortles is actually Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette just is not a real person, and Blake Bortles is just playing running back. And now Deb has stopped listening. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb.
Not only did I say hi to Deb, but I said it in a stupid voice. So okay. So Fournette is. I like Fournette's chances this week. Carolina, my God, what happened to this team?
They kind of just disintegrated.
Oh my God!
On both sides of the ball. I mean, their kicker's all right, but other than that, and McCaffrey,
they couldn't stop a snail going backwards at this point from gaining yardage. So I mean, It's so I like Fournette. I like Carson a little bit. Meh, like not love. I like Zeke Elliott this week too. Again, same thing. Green Bay, their front line has been very iffy, hit or miss. So if you like Dak Prescott, Zeke is a stack that makes sense because Zeke will catch passes out of the backfield. So if you're looking for reach value, Phillip Lindsay's not a bad option. He's losing some touches to Royce Freeman. The metric likes David Montgomery. I'm not touching him. And there's 3 other names here that the metric likes: Marlon Mack, Josh Jacobs, and David Johnson. I am not touching any of those folks. David Johnson's only value right now is as a pass catcher. That's it. Now, granted, they've been throwing the ball a lot. He's been scoring a lot of fantasy points there. I think he's in the top 10 in running backs, which is, shocking for me because he's not number 1 and he's not in the top 5. So that guy can still suck it. But I'm not touching those guys. I'm really looking at a Fournette Zeke pairing, or like a Fournette and then going with like maybe a Christian McCaffrey because he's going to see such a heavy workload. He's just so expensive. So I'm going to split value here. What do you like?
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, I like Zeke against Green Bay. I kind of want to use Mark Ingram.
You can't talk to me about Mark Ingram. I'm a Mark Ingram apologist.
I know.
Mark Ingram could rob a bank right now, and I would be like, you still got to start him on Sunday. I love Mark Ingram. I just think he's been tremendous. He was tremendous in New Orleans. I think he has taken that to Baltimore. He had that one huge game.
He did.
That one huge game, and the rest of it's been very average, 10 to 15 points. But I mean, what's his price point this week?
63.
Well, because that's what have I got him tagged for? And again, I'm an apologist, so I've got him tagged for 16 points, which puts him under the value line. But, to be honest, the pure value line this week, Carson's the only one that clears it. So I'm not really too shocked by that. If I get 16 points out of Mark Ingram at 6,300, I'm okay as long as I get value somewhere else. Then I got to start a Fournette or I got to start a Carson. So I don't dislike that. You know what I really like now that you bring it up?
Yeah.
How about a Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, and then maybe you drop Ingram in the flex?
I mean, if you can afford it.
You save up enough, you could do it. Let's talk about wideouts. Let's talk about ways.
Yeah, because a wideout I really like this week.
Yeah, who you got? Let's start with you.
I honestly, because of the injury to Devontae Adams and then Aaron Rodgers remembering how to play football.
Oh, no. No.
I really like Marquez this week.
Oh, no. No.
I do.
You cannot get on the Marquez Valdez-Scantling Jr., Marco Rubio, whatever.
He's 5,600.
He catches 2 passes a month.
Yeah, but now that Devontae Adams is out.
Devontae Adams has missed games before. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I can't even say his name. The law firm. Oh, my God. No, I can't. You know what the problem, and this is the problem with the Green Bay. I want to like Marquez Valdez. I can't even say his name. Where is he on my list? Valdez-Scantling. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. All right, I'll get used to it. I want to like him. I have used Geronimo Allison twice this year. Twice Geronimo Allison has broken my heart. Geronimo Allison is a poor man's Stephon Diggs. At some point this year, he's going to score 22 points in a game.
Yes.
It's going to happen. You good luck telling me when. Because I thought it was going to be in week 2, and it wasn't. It was all Devontae Adams. Last week, I thought it was going to be Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I will get that before the end of the year, I swear to God. I thought it was going to be him, and it wasn't. So I honestly cannot. I'm looking at the Green Bay offense. Rodgers is a solid play. He's too expensive for DFS.
Right.
Because his projected points is going to go down because his best target is out. So I mean that's just common sense. I like Rodgers in general this week, but I can't use his receivers. I'm looking at, and this is going to shock folks, there's one unified player that the metric loves, and it makes not a lick of sense, and it's Michael Thomas.
How is he only 6,600?
Because Drew Brees is not playing in this game. And that's it.
Wow.
But last week, I think he scored like 14, 15 points. He was still productive because Teddy Bridgewater is going to throw short routes, and there is nobody in the league who comes back for a short route like Michael Thomas. Nobody does it as good as he does. So I'm going to pay up for him this week. I'm not big on Curtis Samuel. The metric likes him. I'm Cooper Kupp, yeah, but you got to pay up for him. So Julio, Brandon Cooks and Bob Woods. Again, they're on the road. I don't know. These guys are all on my list. Keenan Allen is somebody I'm definitely looking at because that game is in LA, and I think Denver can't stop him. Will Fuller's a fascinating play to me because he's only 4,500.
That saves you a lot of money.
And a game that's probably going to be a shootout. If I go with Will Fuller, I can probably afford Michael Thomas and then somebody else I like. Larry Fitzgerald is still staring.
Hey, man.
I have used Larry Fitz every freaking week, and only last week was the only time. Last week, he only scored like 8 points. He wasn't very good last week, but the first 3 weeks, he was absolutely value play after value play, and he's slowly been creeping up, and he finally got to $6,000, and now it's kind of like, can I use him? Yeah, because Christian Kirk is hurt. So, I mean, my ideal lineup right now is probably Michael Thomas. It's a combination of Michael Thomas, Keenan Allen, Will Fuller, and Larry Fitzgerald. However, I can siphon that off. Anybody else you like besides giving up your goat on MVS?
Let's see what else we have. I mean, if you're using Matt Ryan, I mean, Calvin Ridley is only 4,900. You need to save money.
He's just so erratic.
It is.
He's just so erratic.
And if you want to pay up for it, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is 78.
I think they're going to force feed Julio the ball like crazy. Historically, when Atlanta has a blowout, they force feed Julio. So I think, and that game is at Houston, I think it's going to be a high-flying game. Don't be shocked if each quarterback has over 40 attempts in this game. Really don't. Because you can't trust Devontae Freeman. You can't trust Ito Smith. So
Cortland Sutton's 4,900.
I don't know what to make of Denver. I thought Denver offensively was going to be better than this. I didn't expect them to be good. I didn't expect them to be like Green Bay or even Kansas City good. But I didn't expect them to be this bad. Manny Sanders is also down there. So look, here's a question.
Yeah.
If Emmanuel Sanders and Cortland Sutton are both reasonable plays, how come Joe Flacco isn't a value play? He's the one that's got to throw them the damn ball, right?
Yeah, let's go back to the quarterback list.
He's
4,700 for 14.5 points.
Yeah, he's going to throw for 14. That means all of his yardage is going to those two guys, except we know it's not.
No.
Because we're going to move on to tight end because there is a name that is being whispered by the metric. This is Britt's value play of the week, Noah Fant. I think this is the week that Fant is going to break out. He is my highest valued tight end this week. He's only 2,800. I think he's good for 8 points. Now, here's the thing. 8 points ain't a lot.
No.
It is very rare that I recommend anybody. Oh, Craig's reaching in the bag. All right, so Storm 51 is done?
It's done.
And you survived it.
I survived it. It wasn't bad. It's just beer. Like nothing,
I agree.
Nothing to write home about.
I agree. So what do you got in your hand now? What do you give something more exciting?
This is pumpkin ale.
Is that DogFish?
By DogFish.
Oh, I like their pumpkin beer. I like their pumpkin beer.
With a pumpkin band on the label.
Yep. There is a bottle opener on the strap there if you need it.
I do.
Thank you. That was a gift from Sean for being at his wedding. It's just the most fantastic cooler of all time. I do love it. Sean, by the way, if you're listening, I've sent you 3 texts this week asking if you're going to watch football because full disclosure, folks.
Yeah.
The first 4 weeks of the season, I have been busy with other things. I have not sat on a couch on a Sunday and just watched football all season.
No, me either.
You work on Sundays.
Yeah, sadly.
That's kind of different. I've just had a cluster F of different things going on to the point where I have not. So I said to my wife 2 weeks ago, I said, listen to me. Week 5, don't plan anything for Sunday. Well, we're going to go pumpkin picking with my family Saturday. Well, they wanted to go on Saturday. So, and she's like, well, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it is Saturday. It's the pumpkins on the pier thing in Milford. I'm like, that's great. I'm in. Don't call me on Sunday. At 12 o'clock on Sunday, I'm in a jersey. I'm on somebody's couch that's not my own because my wife is not going to sit there and let me watch football all day and that's just rude. She loves Halloween. So it's October now. Forget it. I guarantee as I'm sitting in the studio right now, she's sitting at home watching some random scary movie. So that's just her. I'm not going to punish her by making her watch football, but I'm going to be at somebody's house watching football.
Damn it.
It might be Sean, might be Cinch. Cinch, you do listen to this. If by the time you listen to this, call me because if you're going to be home on Sunday, I might come over. I'll stop. You know what? And I'll up it. Whoever I'm going to see, I'll stop at Tribus on the way. Oh, that double dry hopped I've been juicing we like so much.
Yeah.
Back in cans.
Ooh.
Yeah, they recanned it. Oh,
Nice.
I got to go get some. We really liked that one. So
That was good.
it was very good. Okay, it's tight end. So we're talking about Noah Fant.
Yeah.
You don't want
$2,800.
$2,800, but he's only good for 8 points. Well, Britt, I want more points out of my tight end. Well, the metric is going to give you a name you don't want to hear, and it's Greg Olsen. I've got him projected for almost 11 points. He's at $4,000. That puts him just under 2.7x. Well, Britt, after last week, after you led me astray by talking about Greg Olsen, and I don't blame you because I think Carolina is woeful aside from Christian McCaffrey, you got to pay up for Travis Kelce or go Austin Hooper. Here's the thing. Austin Hooper is the least consistent tight end of all time. Well, that's an exaggeration.
No, right.
But
Yeah,
this year,
still.
5 points, 25 points. Pick a side. Here's the thing. He's only 4,500. So the question in your mind is, with all the garbage going on with Atlanta, can he get to 14 points? And the answer is maybe.
Maybe.
The question is, how certain are you of it? Now, don't forget, who's our value play at quarterback? It's Matt Ryan. So now you've got your stack. You can now stack Matt Ryan with Austin Hooper, still get the running backs and wide receivers you want, but if they do force the ball to Julio or force the ball to Calvin Ridley, you're screwed. So, Craig.
Yep.
Who do you like this week at tight end?
Noah Fant because he's cheap.
You've been a big Noah Fant guy,
especially now that Hockenson is out.
This year, Craig has been all over the rookie tight ends.
I have been. I am not a Delaney Walker fan. I am not a Tennessee fan.
We don't discuss Delaney Walker on this podcast.
But he's a little pricey. But I do like Darren Waller.
Oh yeah, and who were the first guys on Darren Waller? Oh, that's right, us. And like weeks 1 and 2, we were told to use Darren Waller. Nobody listened. They all laughed at us.
They did.
They said you're mad. And now what does Darren Waller cost now?
$5,000.
$5,000. He was $2,200 in week 1. He was like $2,000 in week 1. In week 2, they were like, "Oh, I can't do it again." He was $2,500. Now, granted, I broke my own rule there.
Yeah.
I used the hot hand in weeks 1 and 2. But once you get up to weeks 3 and 4, and the hand is still hot, that's not a hot hand. That's a breakout player. We are now 4 weeks into the season, folks. If at this point in your year, and I've been telling, after week 1, I said patience. After week 2, I said patience. After week 3, I said modified patience. If you're 0-3, if you're 1-2, go out there and make a deal. This is now week 4. Now is not panic, but now is go time. If you're not at least 2-2 in your home league or in your online league, do something about it.
Yeah, at least pick people up.
If you're not working your waiver wire, and if you're in a 14-teamer and a deep bench league, that may not be possible. If you're in a dynasty, that may not be possible. Dynasty's different because you carry over folks year to year. So you may want to do it. I'm not saying hit the panic button. I will say this. 0-5 is the panic button. 0-5 and you are 1 loss from done, in my opinion. So go out there, make the deals now, start getting yourself done. Because if you don't, then your deals are going to be trading for picks next year, and that's if you're in a league that's year to year. So if you're sitting after week 4 with 1 or fewer wins, you have got to make a move now.
Yep.
And if you are sitting at 0-5 after this week or 1-4, now you are hitting the panic button. So avoid hitting that panic button and get a win. Go out there and get a win. We had a really bad beat, by the way, in our Dynasty League this week. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it.
We lost by 1/3 of a point.
Yes.
We lost by 1/3 of a point in a game we were supposed to lose miserably. The statistical calculator gave us a 20% chance of winning, and we only lost by 1/3 of a point. So we right now in that league are 1-3. But I am, number 1, it's a dynasty, and number 2, I'm not going to hit the panic button because we are just outside of there.
You know who's coming back this week?
Who's that?
Chris Herndon.
Chris Herndon is back. When is what's his name back in Cleveland?
What's his name in Cleveland?
The former Chief running back whose name I'm just blanking on. Who's that guy?
Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, when is he back? Is it this week?
Like week 8, I think.
Oh, he's gone longer. Somebody else is back this week. Ben Watson is back this week.
Darnold, I think, is back this week.
Darnold practiced today. Oh my God, Sam Darnold practiced today. Yep. So now all of a sudden, our dynasty team
becomes a real team again.
Has all of a sudden gone from holy crap, we need to pick up Sam Darnold's backup to we have Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, and Sam Darnold. Our weakest position is no longer quarterback. So we're probably going to bench Flacco.
And-
We're still carrying 6 quarterbacks.
And I'm just going to throw this out there, and
Yeah.
I know because I'm a Bengals fan. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just saying Arizona has given up the most points, fantasy points at tight ends. So
Really?
Yeah.
But
so
can Tyler Eifert stay healthy?
that's a different question.
But it's related. It's related. Still the greatest name of all
right
time.
now,
Eifert in my back.
Well, he's 3,300. So just throwing it out there.
All right, so I'm looking at Noah Fant. If I want the cheap option. I'm looking at Travis Kelce, and I'm paying up for Travis Kelce if I want the reliable option. Defenses. The metric really loves the Steelers. Not because they're good, but because they're cheap and because Lamar Jackson is finally starting to show some signs of being a rookie, which he's not. But he is. Yeah, being a first-year starter. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to really go for them. I'm probably going to pay up a little bit and take the Chargers at home against Denver. I don't think outside of Noah Fant, I really don't fear. We talked about Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders, that the metric was kind of high on them, but it's not high on Joe Flacco. So if you're saying Noah Fant is the value tight end of the week,
right,
and you're saying Cortland Sutton and Emmanuel Sanders have a chance to make value, but their quarterback will not, how in the holy hell are those three guys making value if Joe Flacco can't?
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm looking at the Chargers as the defense to use this week. Who do you like?
Defensive wise, I mean, if you want to pay up for the Patriots, I mean, they're playing Washington.
That's like the stud pick.
Yeah,
but they're so expensive.
They're $4,300.
$4,300. Now they're going to get you at least 10 points. There's no question in my mind they're going to get at least 10 points unless Washington pulls something out of their butt.
You got the Vikings against the
Wait a
Giants.
Minute.
Yeah.
Why is this missorted?
I don't know.
I'm looking at this and it's telling me something my God.
Uh-oh.
Please stand by. Yeah, the metric is showing me values that are not. Oh, I know what happened. Okay.
Oh, he had a button in Excel.
Yep. No, the Chargers are now top of my list. The Chargers were number 2 on my list, and now they're number 1. So when some of the data I enter in manually, so when I was entering the projections, I accidentally added an extra digit to the Jaguar projection. So instead of what did I have them at? Where's the Jags? Where are they?
The Jags are 3,000.
Okay, yeah, and I have them at 7.2 points. I accidentally put them at 17.2 points.
Whoops.
Yeah, so all of a sudden the metric was like, that's the greatest thing of all time. I'm like, no, it's not.
And I mean, the Eagles are 3,700, and they're playing the Jets. The Jets are not spectacular, but
Quarterback's coming back.
But if Darnold comes back and Chris Herndon's coming back,
oh, is that a risky stack?
You know what?
We did it a couple times last year to pay it off.
In the tournament. I'm just saying.
Okay, so let's
something to think about.
We're not gonna advocate for that, but
something to think about. That's all. Just saying.
All right, you want to go crazy here?
All right.
You put Noah Fant at tight end.
All right, wait. Let me open DraftKings.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Oh,
we're not gonna do that just because this is that crazy. I'm not gonna finish the thought. But Sam Darnold and you put Chris Herndon at flex. I've seen folks who've been starting tight ends at flex.
Oh, me too.
People
Ingram is like the top flex spot tight end of the Giants.
Oh yeah, Ingram. Yeah, I have seen people who have started Waller and Ingram, in the same lineup. Or Andrews. Everybody loves Mark Andrews. Again, he came back to earth a little bit this week too. He's going to be as Lamar Jackson goes. So, all right. Believe it or not, we are out. All right. So we're almost out of time. Let's just do a quick recap. So quarterback, you got some options there. Mahomes is probably the safest play, even though he had a bad week. Matt Ryan is my recommendation. Craig kind of likes Dak Prescott. At running back, I really like Leonard Fournette paired with a stronger stud guy. I really like the combination of Michael Thomas with either Keenan Allen, Will Fuller, Larry Fitzgerald, any of those three. Tight end, if you're looking to save money, this is the place to do it because Noah Fant is extremely cheap. And Greg Olsen has come down in price too, and I think Olsen's going to bounce back. If you want a little bit of a safer play, Austin Hooper's only $4,500. And then defensively, the Chargers are my pick for the week. But if you're looking to go cheap, you're looking at the Steelers. Okay, Craig, final thoughts. What do you got for us going into week 5?
Final thoughts. Well, I just looked it up, and Chris Herndon's not an option in DraftKings, which makes me sad.
He's not on the list.
He's not on the list, but he said he was coming back this week.
I thought he was a 4-game suspension. Oh, they had a bye.
Oh.
He hasn't played a 4th game. He's next week.
4 games,
not 4 weeks. Herndon won't be back till week 5.
All
so
right.
prepare for already working. I'm sorry, this is week 5. In week 6, get ready for the Chris Herndon, Sam Darnold stack.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
Darnold comes back this week and looks okay.
It's going to happen.
His spleen doesn't explode.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah. Sorry, but anyway, your final thought.
Final thought, yeah, going back to what Britt said, don't be afraid to make some moves or trades. Just even if no one's offering you anything, just offer other people.
Yeah, don't wait.
Trades.
Don't wait. Don't be that guy who waits for somebody to start the conversation, and don't be afraid to be laughed at.
I've tried multiple trades in my work league, and I get turned down a lot, but at least I'm doing it.
And don't be afraid to be laughed at. And you never know who you're going to get laughed at. In the Dynasty League we're in, I got laughed at for asking about Benny Snell. I was told Benny Snell is untouchable. It's Benny Snell. As much as I love little Benny Snell, he's touched the ball. He scored fantasy points 1 out of the first 4 weeks. He's not, but for this guy, he's the future of the Steelers. And it just turns out that Benny Snell is from his hometown or something like that. So he's not going to do it. So mine is don't worry about one bad week. The way to bounce back from a bad week is to be safe and to be kind of conscientious and things of that nature when you're doing your DFS lineups this week. Don't back off. Stick to your plan. Conversely, you have a bad week like I had last week, you don't overreact one way or the other. You don't cut down your bankroll spending, and you don't increase it based off of the previous week. You look at the week, you look at your confidence level, and you stick to your bankroll plan. That is my advice this week for DFS. If you lost $200 last week, some people will go out there and go, well, I'm only going to wager 50 because I don't want to go down. And some people are going to go, well, I'm going to make it back up. I'm going to wager everything. Don't do that. It's a marathon, folks. It is not a sprint. There are 17 weeks in this season for DFS, and then the playoffs. Now, playoffs are a little less reliable, but you got 17 weeks. Right now, the metric is firing at about 75%. That means you're going to win 12 or 13 out of 17 weeks. As long as you stick to your plan and you don't give up on it and don't go nuts, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay, people. I promise you. Craig survived that Storm 51 beer. He's going to be okay. There's another one in the fridge. He's probably going to give it to the cats.
Maybe.
As always, leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen to us because we're on 36 networks now.
That's right.
Find out about another one every week.
Third-year breakout like a receiver.
Yeah, except that's a total myth statistically, but that's beside the point.
John Ross.
Unless you're John Ross. Well, John Ross needs to play 3 seasons worth of games before he dies. So
I hope so.
Someday. We didn't even get to injuries this week. That's how crazy it's been. So leave us a review. Reach out to us at Twitter at FignutsDFS. You can always email us, fignutsdfs@gmail.com. I want to toss in a quick thank you again to the guys over at Field Conditions Podcast. It was lovely chatting with them. We're looking forward to having them on in a not too distant future. Again, trying to work out those audio issues so that when we do have them on, they sound fantastic. But once we have that all worked out, we will definitely have them on because they have a wealth of knowledge about how games can be affected by weather, and it's a fascinating topic. Until then, we will be back next week. Enjoy Week 5. My name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast.